This is what it is, okay? I said empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
Welcome to the 20th episode of the Deployment Dojo. This is a live show where we talk about setup and installation topics using the WiX Toolset. I'm your host, Rob Mensching, and joining me today is my very good friend and first student of the Deployment Dojo, David Edson. David, how are you doing?
Hi, pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Back from a little bit of vacation, which is why we missed last week, and so I think we probably need to do a little refresher as we work our way back into what we're doing today. Sounds good?
Yep.
All right. So the big thing that we did last time was we introduced a very powerful new tool into our arsenal, Git and GitHub, and the ability to do builds in the cloud, if you remember all those different things we did, right?
Right.
Right. So I was thinking about it while I was at the soccer tournament with my son. And I've come up with, we're going to remodel the dojo today. We're going to get everything built around our Git location or what we're doing inside Git so we can set ourselves up for all those upcoming episodes. We had the tool, let's put the dojo in place, move a couple things around, and get the code so that we are set up for next week to start adding more advanced concepts. All right. So a little bit of review, a little bit of reorganization, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Okay, so we left off with a repository inside the Deployment Dojo organization up on GitHub called episode 19, all right? You remember doing that, right?
Yes.
All right, so what I want to do instead is to create a new repository that we're going to update week after week. I was thinking maybe we'd create a repository for every episode, but then as the more I thought about it, the less interested I was in having lots of different repositories. I want to have one that has changes over time, which is much more of a natural way of working with Git. All right, so we're going to create a new repository. And I don't have a good name for it right now, but we're going to continue where we left off with our belt test. All right.
Okay.
And the core project for the Deployment Dojo. And maybe every once in a while we'll actually have some points where we actually do like a test and put new concepts in here. I'm going to say go ahead and add a README for me. And we're going to say go ahead and go find the Visual Studio Git ignore, so it automatically sets up all the standard things to ignore everything we're doing. All right. All right. So this will be the place where we put the belt test project. We did a lot of this last week. I didn't create a README, but you can see here it gives us this nice little text file that they display at the bottom of the project. It's the same thing I put in a build test. This is the core project Deployment Dojo. Nothing special. And then it gave us this git ignore file that will automatically ignore all those bin and obj and all that other build goo that we have locally, right?
Right.
Cool. This is empty. Totally empty, right? So what I have done is I went over and I copied a whole bunch of our episode 19 work, and I need to get rid of the git ignore. That was left over. All right. I copied over a lot of our episode 19 work, including what was in the belt test directory, but I only kept the console app. All right. So we're going to rebuild our setup today real quick and get the build turned back on for everything. And I think that's where we're going to set up for today. All right.
Okay.
But with the normal flow, with everything set up for us naturally. So here we could kind of say the build team has given us the infrastructure. They've given us an empty repository, and we already have the app from the team. As a setup team, we need to glue all this stuff together and push it up to the repository for the first time. Why we as a setup team own the creation of the repository, that's a little bit different. Normally you think the build team would do that, but we got to get started somewhere. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I am going to clone a repository. from GitHub, and I am going to grab this URL that it gives me for build test, and then I'm going to put it here in episode 20 directory. That is not, please specify an empty folder on your directory. Really? I have to make it empty? All right, we're going to do a thing right now. We're going to rename episode 20 to episode 20 backup. And there are too many things holding stuff open, I guess. All right, close all my VS codes that have things open probably. And now let's see if it'll let me rename it. All right, there. All right, I've got episode 20, all of our code out of the way. Apparently I have to have it empty for Visual Studio to do this. I don't know why. Okay, that, please, thank you. Clone, what does this give us? A very empty folder, nothing in it. Nothing terribly interesting. All right, so now I'm going to open up episode 20 back. I'm gonna grab all these files, go into episode 20, and drop them in there. Poof. All right, so I just brought back all of episode 20. And does this refresh? Let me hit refresh button here. Ugh, come on, Visual Studio, refresh. You know you want to. Open. Oh, there we go. Now I've opened the folder and you can see all our code. So what do we have in here? We have the build file that left over from the build build team that does an MS build on our solution, passing in our version number for us and initializing the MS build command line for us. We have our typical sandbox here. We have our start command that we've had in the past. We have the README that we got from the pull from the repository. And then inside build test, we have only the console app here. All right, so this is in folder mode. I'm going to open up the solution, and we now have looking at our solution, we now have our console app just like we did before.
Right.
Cool. I'm going to commit this as our initial state. Well, our state that we're at so far. Actually, I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to build once, make sure that we can actually build. All right, cool. We built. I am not going to commit this yet. The thing that we didn't talk about last time, David, that I wanted to, but I decided that we were already going over enough content in Git, is that normally when you're doing work, you want to create a branch in Git, do your work there, and then merge back to the main line. So you can go off, do your work independently, and then merge everything back onto the main line at the end of that. Okay?
Right. Yep.
Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new branch here. It's going to give me an option for a name, and we're going to call this episode 20. Should I name it episode 20? No, we'll call it episode 20.
Sure.
So you might see a pattern here. At the beginning of every episode, we'll be able to start by creating a branch called episode 20, and then we'll go from there. All right. So we're going to switch to that. And then now you can see down here, Visual Studio is being nice and showing me that I'm on that branch. So when I go here and I say, please take all of my changes that we just built and verify that they're good to go. And we're going to call this the initial repository with build and app ready to go. All right. It's
okay.
A name, it's a message, whatever. And we are going to hit the commit button. Which of these is the commit staged? Why is it doing this? Why can I not commit staged? We had the same problem last time, right, David?
Yeah, I believe so.
It's like, why does it not want to let me commit? I have everything ready for ads. You see all these A's next to it. That says it's going to be ready to add. Okay,
Didn't you do it from the command line last time too?
I think you did. I had to.
The first time.
Oh, you know what it is? It's a new folder. I need to change this configuration. Episode 20. Git config user.email rob@firegiant.com. That's why it's not letting me do it. All right, let's see. If I go away, come here. Okay. No, still not going to let me. Let me unstage, restage everything. There we go. That's the problem. It did not. I have to remember that. I have a special configuration to make sure that I change my email address based on personal projects or FireGiant projects. And I have to set my name my email every time. All right. Okay. Now we're ready to commit this. Boom. Committed locally. Nothing going up yet, right?
Right.
Okay. Let's see. So this is all good. Let's actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and push that change right now. So now we're going to push that change up. I'm going to grab our repository and it's going to say, hey, look, episode 20 branch had changes just less than a minute ago. Right? So we could go ahead and look at this branch. We look at episode 20 branch and we will see, look, it has all those files. All right? So if we go to main, it still has only these set of files, and episode 20 branch has all the work we're going to be doing for episode 20. The way that we get episode 20 onto the main line is we use this compare and create a pull request. We're going to do that at the end of the episode when we're ready to be done and send it in. Does that make sense? At the end, we will we will complete all the changes in episode 20 in one change into the main branch. Then everybody else will see it. Everybody can see our branches here now. All right. So right now, if people are working, if we had multiple, if you're working and you're looking only at the main, you'd be seeing just this little bit. We're going to get some more done today. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's go back. We're going to go right back to the beginning. I kind of want to go through, let's build our setup. So we're going to add a project, add new project, these. All right. There we go. MSI package. That's the one I want. And we had the community and the enterprise things before. I'm not going to do those right now. I'm just going to call it belt test package for now. We're just going to go with one for a while here. Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right. Belt test package. It wants me to authenticate to GitHub. I don't really need to do that. Cancel that. All right. I don't know why it's prompting me for GitHub right now. I don't need that. Okay. So there we go. We have our belt test package and our console app 1. We're going to start with a direct dependency right here without a library. Okay.
Okay.
So from our main package, we're going to reference our console app. So we have it. And we're going to rename this example components to console app components. All right.
Okay.
Go into this. If I can open it. And the source will be console app 1.exe. And I'm going to rename this console app 1 components. All right. So now inside this little component group, we will be installing this file into the install folder. Pretty self-contained, self-explanatory.
Right.
And then we go back to our package because I renamed the component group. I'm now going to call it console app components here as well. All right. Now let's go and fix our template. We are the deployment dojo. Loud and proud. This is the belt test package. Let's go ahead and name it better. Actually, let's just call this the Dojo belt test. All right. And we want to fix this version up so we get the one from the build. We'll do that next. And that upgrade code looks just fine for now. All right.
Okay.
This all looks normal.
Yes.
Nothing special here. And we have English strings for right now. This will do just fine for us. Maybe we'll go back and grab our Denmark language or our Danish language if Martin is so helpful. All right. I'm going to do a build. Make sure it works. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. There we go. We have an MSI that's built. And should we bring up the sandbox real quick?
Yes.
Let's go through our handy dandy sandbox. Here it pops up over on this other window. Sandbox, open up. Please open to episode 20. I opened it to the root, so we're going to have to navigate down a little bit. Let's see. There's that. Okay, here we are in episode 20. Belt test package, bin, x64, debug, enus, belt test package. So this is a 64-bit package we saw, x64. This is the program files x86 folder, so we will not see it there. All right, install and see what happens. There's our Dojo belt test, and there's our deployment Dojo, the Dojo belt test, and here's our console app 1. And when I run this, we're going to see, welcome to the blank console app, register our blank customer, which means that we're missing a couple things, right?
Right.
What are we missing?
Some of those variables.
Not just variables. We actually need to look at the app. We're missing these reg keys. Right?
Oh, I thought you had the... Okay.
I didn't add them this time. We started from scratch, so I have to go ahead and add them. I'm going to add them right here. Registry value, root equals HKLM, path equals what I pasted from there, software belt test. name equals, already forgotten, addition, right? And value equals, we're going to call it standard because we don't have anything else right now.
Okay.
Cool. Oh, not path. Key. There we go. Nah, that got rid of it. Too many different names for all the things inside registry keys, right? So there's one. If we look at HKLM software belt test edition standard program, HK local machine software belt test edition. All right, let's go ahead and give ourselves a customer as well. Copy, paste, customer. And we're going to say valued customer. All right. We added 2 registry keys. Those are the 2 registry keys that this console app is looking for. And we'll print them out inside these 2 blanks. Let's build it real quick and we'll bring up the Dojo again, or the sandbox again. And once we get this working, all right, that said it succeeded.
Right.
We'll get the build version next. Just want to make sure we get the reg keys right. Zoom, zoom. I should change our batch file to look at x64 because that's the one that we're working on, isn't it?
Right.
Local disk profiles, but that's all right. We'll go in there. Belt test. Belt test package. Have to remember what we're building here. Okay, run debug enus belt test package. Installing in our brand new clean sandbox. Our deployment dojo is right here. If we run console app 1, oh, it's still blank. That's not what I expected at all. Well, let's go open the tool and see if we actually wrote those things correctly. HK local machine. Oh, wait. I did it, David. This is a 64-bit package, right?
Oh, wrong space for, or wrong spot for the registry key.
That's right, which means I wrote the 64-bit keys, but this app is x86. So let's go switch the configuration manager and switch it when building the any CPU console app, which will default to x86. We want to be building x86 platform. Please, Visual Studio, I say this every other episode or every 2 out of 3 episodes. Please stop setting to x64 by default. x86 is more like any CPU than anything else. All right. They're not listening to me, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and clean real quick, and then let's go ahead and build again. And we will bring up our... So hopefully this feels kind of natural, right? Here we are getting comfortable back on our domain again, creating a package, all the good stuff. Now I'm going to look in the x86 directory, which means that this program files folder will be in the right spot. Belt test package, bin, x86 folder, debug, enus, belt test package. Whee! Go. Now we're in program files x86. Run this, run the app, and ta-da! Welcome to the standard console app 1. Register our valued customer.
Nice.
Standard valued. Looking at the setup, standard valued customer. Yay. All right, we're good here, right?
Yes.
We are back to things generally working. Oh, how about we uninstall it? Just for giggles, just to make sure it cleans up after itself. Boom. All right, cool. That is that part done. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to commit. Stage all the work we've done so far and say initial package structure in place. I don't have great words right now. Writing commit messages on stream is one of the hardest things to do, believe it or not. There are 2 things I've learned was really challenging on stream. 1, writing commit messages. 2, math. Any math is very hard to do. Okay, we're going to commit that. Cool. Now we have a change locally, ready to go. We're not going to push it yet because I want to set the version correctly. The version is not going to match whatever the build says right now. Right? Okay, so let's go back and look at our build goo here. We're going to open up the batch file and we're going to see they are saying to ms build, they're calling it build version equals and then the number right here. All right, that's fine. That's what the build guys said the build version is. We need to pipe that number or that property from ms build into the WiX Toolset. So I'm going to open up the project. Actually, should I try properties? I don't use this often. Yeah, it gets kind of squished. Preprocessor variables. All right. Oh, can I do this here? I don't know. Let's see. So I want to call it version equals build version, right? So build version is the name that they're going to pass into MS build. We will use this variable syntax to dereference it and put it into our own preprocessor in WiX called version. I'm curious to see if I save this, what does it look like? Yeah, that's actually perfect. Yay, props to Heatwave for getting that exactly correct. There's a lot of work underneath to handle these variables, getting them written to the file without resolving. Anyway, it's a whole lot of nasty code underneath. The only thing I don't like is that it's add this condition set only in debug x86. I want it set all the time. So there. All right, so what have I done? I've said, take the build version from the command line and pass it in to a version variable inside WiX. That means I now have a version variable in here that I can use. Ta-da! Oh, nope, got spelled right. Version, right? Yep. So it's kind of a hop, skip, and a jump. Let's follow it. The build command line passes build version on the command line into the package, into the project. The project here then takes that property inside MS build, assigns it to this variable that gets passed into WiX, and then WiX uses it and we put it into the version variable right here.
Yeah,
right?
Makes sense. Yep.
Yeah, all right. That all held together. And there's one more thing that we want to do. We want to give build version a default when we're running in dev, right? So this value will be overwritten by what's passed in the command line. The command line wins. This then will happen when we don't have, when we're not running from the official build and we're doing just a dev build.
Okay.
All right. So let's go ahead and do a build here. Doop, 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 doop. And I'm going to install this. Oh, I'm already in the right spot. This should have built this one right now. Okay, so when I install this, what version number are we expecting to show up in add and remove programs?
The 1.0.
I built inside Visual Studio, which means I'm going to get the version 0. So remember, when I build inside Visual Studio, it does not use the command line, so it uses whatever value I have here. So this is a dev build, so it uses the default one. Let's go ahead and close the sandbox, because we saw that's version 00. You have to trust me, I know it's small. 00. Now, let's go ahead and do we're going to close this, clear the screen, and I'm going to run it from the command line. Build.command, right?
All right, and this is where you get the 1.0 from.
This is where I should get 1.0. So it's going to initialize it, do a build. I get all this nice output. It put the file out to ebug enus belt test. Yeah, that's where I expect it. Let's go ahead and bring our sandbox back up. Shut it down, bring it up. Zoom, zoom. Now what version is it going to be? I totally forgot what I wrote in the batch file.
1.0, right?
1.0? Okay. I trust you. I forgot what I wrote in the batch file. 1.0, 0.9. We've had so many different numbers. x86, debug, enus. Here's our built test package built from the command line. There we go. Comma files and refresh this. Oh, 0.0. Oh, wait. Why did that do that?
I don't know.
Episode enus built test package. Let's see. Oh, skipping target core compile because all the output files are up to date with respect to the input files.
So since it didn't change, it didn't.
Because it didn't change anything. So let's see. How do we want to solve that? I closed Visual Studio, didn't I? I did. So let's go ahead and just remove the bin directory. Like the batch file could have a clean step in it. Normally on the build server, right? The GitHub gives us a brand new server every time, so we don't have to worry about this problem very much. But we do here. All right, rd-r-4, please, from belt test, not solution, package, bin, and obj. All right, now let's build. But there you go. You can see this is how you diagnose it. You just start reading the messages from that MS build spat out, and that was a pretty nice, clean. Oh, cool. We didn't change anything as far as Visual Studio thought. All right, cool. There we go. Look at all that. And there's a Windows installer validation happening. You can see how that was the thing that took the longest. All right. Now, it's telling me that that folder has been deleted. That's right. I deleted it right out from underneath the sandbox. Let's go ahead and get rid of the old one that was installed. And let's install the new one that we just built. Now there's only that x86 directory because I deleted everything. Test package, run. And there we go. Now it says
Finally,
1.0.
see 1.0.
Yeah, there we go. And our console app works. And there we are, registered to our valued customer. Cool?
Yes.
Believe it or not, David, it's been a half hour almost.
Oh,
Just like that, which means it's time for us to... Here, you know what? Do you want me to... How about I commit this from the command line? I'm going to commit this one from the command line. All right?
Sure.
So you can do git status. So I could use Visual Studio, open it up, do all that kind of stuff. Here you could do git status, and you can see these are the two files that we modified. And I'm like, wait, what did I change in those? You can do git diff, and it will spit out all the changes that have been modified. So it said, hey, you added the build version with our defined constants. See how these are green? And then I guess I added a new line at the end of the project or something. Yeah, that's what happened. So
Right.
you see how this red says, no, I don't have new, now I have a new line. All right, so we added this to our project file, belt test project, and then we changed this line with version 1.0.0 to version here like that. Cool?
Right. Yep.
That sounds like the changes we made. So now we're going to git add, and I'm just gonna say git add all the files. Or yeah, I'm just gonna say git add all the files that I have changed in this directory. And then I do git status, and it shows me these are now green instead of yellow, which means they're ready to be committed, which means I can now do commit. And in my case, it's gonna bring up Notepad++, or Notepad, sorry, this is Notepad 2. And I'm gonna say add version to belt test package. That's what we did, right? That's what this change did.
Right.
Boom. Okay, cool. Now I have this little add-on to PowerShell that I'm using that shows me, hey, you now have 2 changes ready to push up here. Where before it said you had 1 change ready and you had 2 files changed that were ready to commit locally. If we go back a little bit farther, when it was gray, it was like, hey, you have these 2 files that are ready to be staged, but have not been ready to be staged. And then these are 2 files staged. And then I had 2 committed. And now I have 2 ready to push. So let's push it. That's how you push from the command line after using Visual Studio. Visual Studio, this is just a button push. Here I'm typing, git push. There we go. All my changes are now up on GitHub. So what's the next step? We finally get to come here and say, hey, this had push this 1 minute ago. If I refresh it, I bet it's gonna say even less time. Yeah, less than a minute ago, because we just updated them. So we're ready to finish today. We have 2 minutes left on a typical half-hour show, so let's go ahead and kick off our pull request. All right, so this is where you get to write all of your changes. I was gonna say there better be some changes. I was looking like, where's the changes? Work, or how about this? Episode 20. I haven't figured out what to name these, David. How about we just call it episode 20? Oh, what's the name of this? The new Dojo deployment flow. WiX. I forgot the whole title. Show me the whole title, please. For today. I can't see it all. All right. WiX.
Oh, plus GitHub. WiX Toolset plus GitHub.
Plus GitHub, like that? Oh, the plus sign.
Yep, plus that. And you have
All right.
WiX Toolset.
Yeah. All right. So there. Actually, you know what? This doesn't actually matter. None of this here matters other than for sharing with other people and what they're going to say.
Right.
Thank you, Bob, as well. And so what you could do now is you can leave more comments here, and we'll show more kind of features of GitHub later. But you can see here, here's the important part. Here were the 3 changes I made. The initial repo, app ready to go, the initial package structure in place, and add the version belt test. And then down here, it's going to show us all of our changes that we've made in this particular PR, which is essentially we've added the whole app and all the interesting code.
Right.
Right. So that's like, yeah, okay. So we could look at that and compare. You can also click on just one of these and look at the changes for just that file. So look at here, GitHub is rendering that same change that I did when I did it from the command line. Let's see if I scroll up a little bit. You can see here, there's the plus signs in the green, plus signs the green and red, and here's that. And then they have this nice little dark red for the part that got deleted, this dark green for the part that got added, and these 2 lines were changed. All right, so here I'm looking at just one change of the 3 changes that I'm going to push right now. And I could have as many as I want and all those other kinds of things. All right?
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to say create pull request. And there we go. We've created a pull request. Now at this point, you could send it off. I could have you review it, or we could have other people that be part of the dojo. You could say, hey guys, could someone please go review this change, make sure it looks good, and if it does, then we'll go ahead and commit it. So for the sake of time, I'm going to say that this is good enough. In the future, we're going to add some more rules here to catch and try to do builds for us automatically. But we already know that when we go to main, it's going to do a build for us, right?
Right.
So merge pull request. Yep. And here we go. So this is what's going to add a commit message to our repository that's called merge pull request number 1 from Deployment Dojo episode 20. Episode 20, this name. So there, we're going to get this commit message added. That's going to show the work we did here. And it's going to say we're going to do it from rob@firegiant.com because I have multiple email addresses. Confirm that merge. And we're done. I'm going to go back and look at the code here. And now we're on the main line. And look, our main line now has all that code where before it didn't. Right? It was missing that. And here it says, hey, here's your last change, merge your pull request from that. Notice we also still have episode 20 branch. We don't need that anymore. This gives us a nice handy dandy. Go ahead and delete that branch because we're done with episode 20. Our code is in. And I think based off last week, look, all that build flow, remember that big YAML file that we had? We've pushed the main. We're now kicking off an automated build. We'll go ahead and see how that's going. It's downloading all of our code locally to the build server, and now it's going to run our build command, initializing the dev environment, and then we'll kick off our build, just like we saw from our command line over here. This is going to become a very common workflow for us. Every week, we're going to finish by creating a pull request, reviewing our changes, and then saying, go ahead and do that work.
Okay.
So, I'm going to let this go ahead and run in the background. We're going sparring. All right, David, while this runs in the back, any questions, things you want to ask about?
I don't think so. Other than just, when you leave it for a couple weeks and you're looking back, I thought that when you were doing the default, like for the build version, I thought it was done a different way. I don't think I remember you is there a different way to do a default build version number? I don't remember you putting another version like that right above where you have that. Yeah,
so MS Build allows you to define properties. This is how you inside a property, inside a project, a property group. Let me make this XML. Thank you. Inside a property group, you can set properties. But if you specify a one on the MS Build command line, it will override any of these variables. So essentially, whatever passed on the command line wins over the ones that are in the projects. And I probably didn't do a good job showing this the last time I did it, honestly, is what happened.
Okay.
Right. But I probably just snuck this in and said, oh, we need to give ourselves a default. Otherwise, what's going to happen is that we're not going to have any value here. And then it's going to be like, hey, when you build inside Visual Studio, it doesn't work because there's no number.
Right.
It'll be like that's an invalid version. In fact, how about we do that? But since we're
take that out and build it.
We're just going to comment that out. Wrong Visual Studio. That's not my demo one. All right. Here's episode 20. Yeah, that's what we're picking up left. Okay. Let's see. What was I looking for? Oh, it's not opening solution view because I opened just the folder. All right, there. Let's open the solution. Double click on belt test. All right, there we go. Now we're here. And there's my project. So I'm going to comment this out. Okay.
All right.
So now when I build, this build version will not be set. And we're going to see, I expect errors.
Yeah.
There. Package version attribute cannot be an empty string. A value is not required. Remove the attribute, but it says it was not found, so it's required. So what happened is this version was set to empty string, which is not a valid version.
Okay.
So if we now, to show that it works, let's do this. ABC, is that a valid version?
No. I don't no, but I'm not sure if it'll work or not.
Well, let's go ahead and build it. Package version attribute ABC is not a valid version. Specify a 4-part version or a semantic version, such as that. So.
And so then if you're using the MS build command, even with this, and you specify a build version, it'll trump both of these.
Yeah. So this we saw here. This is an error, right?
Yeah.
Very clearly, we had the value ABC. let's go ahead and build it from the command line. Yeah.
Will it just not
If I could type, wow.
Yeah.
Would not let me type those words. Build. Boom. Look, it's going. Building MSI. Done. So the fact that we have this build version set right here.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's put this as XYZ. And I think we're going to have to delete things again. That should be enough. And do a build.
Right.
Now it says, error, the package version attribute XYZ is not a valid version.
Okay.
So when we specify here, that's from the build. This is our default, which we need to set back to something else. Now when I build inside Visual Studio, it will work with version 0. And when I build from the command line, it will also work with whatever version I put in the build command,
Gotcha.
1.0.
So when you do it from the command like that, it just doesn't even really read those or compile those two statements there with the...
It overwrites them so that when the project loads, you'll see a little... eventually, we're going to dig into like log files when we get more advanced build systems. We'll dig into how you like debug the MS build with all its log files and stuff. You'll see it'll get initialized to 0 and then overwritten by the command line.
Gotcha.
It's like the value was set from the command line, or the property is set from the command line with this.
So before anything is compiled at all, it'll overwrite that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Before it lets the whole build actually start running, it will do that. And there we go. Oh, haha. We have a warning, or we have a problem in our build script that we'll have to fix, but we'll do that next week. We asked it to upload the community package and enterprise package, but we don't publish enterprise and community package anymore. So we have some warnings in our build that are basically, hey, you did a build, you have an MSI, but you didn't save anything as part of the build. So we'll fix that next time.
Okay.
All right, cool. So next week, we'll fix this little build mistake here, and then we're going to start picking up some more complicated applications. We're going to take this nice, simple build test. We'll create a new branch, and we will move forward with episode 21. And this should be next week. We'll be right back here, same time, same place. And until then, you guys keep coding. Bye. Thanks, David.
Cool. Thanks. See ya.